Um, I was gonna post something about it, but I'm like, I literally just slept in yesterday morning, got up, and we went and had the taxes done, and oy vey, it's just crazy, tax time. Sure, we got plenty of time yet. I think you have up till April 15th. I remember one year I actually filed on April 15th. Well, as long as it's in the mail on, buy or on the post date of April 15th, you're good. And one year, yeah, I actually sent it out on April 15th. That was a ways back. That was many, many moons ago. But hello, everybody. Sorry, like I said, sorry I was missing yesterday. But by the time I woke up, I'm like, oh shit. And then I was like, I'll just tell everybody what happened tomorrow morning. But, boy. So what's happening out here in the world? Well, rumors already going around. We're going back to like 9-hour days next month. So possibly March, they're going back to weekends and 9-hour days. And also, I got to go file to get my FMLA renewed pretty soon because I'm tired of weekends. I'm not kidding. It's just ridiculous to me that, we're being used, the way we are. But like I said, I can't go into that. Like I said, it's a whole company thing. Meanwhile, out in the world, they're still digging up shit from the Epstein files and all that. And, like the guy's been dead for how long now? Ever since he committed suicide, you know, in the one room that's camera just happened to break down. And, but it's amazing to me, how much people, so many people out there in the world who are still naive to the fact that, these other folks who are out there, there's, like I said, not all celebrities and people who have gained wealth are evil, but there's people out there who are just, they're doing things. They don't live on the same planet you and I live on. They don't live in the same reality. They are literally, above the law, a lot of these people. Ugh. Hang on, getting to read up a little bit. I know, yeah, we lost Robert Duvall, and like I said, good innings, for an actor, who went through that whole era. I believe he was like what 95, something like that. He was up there a bit ways. It's kind of sad. I didn't even know Bobby Duvall was still alive. This was bad, but great actor, large resume there. Going back to Apocalypse Now, The Godfather, like I said, bam, But sadly, we all learn the hard way that, sometime sooner or later we're all going to meet the Reaper, and that's one of the other things that kind of ticked me off about the ending of not Face the Raven, the season that it was in. That little line with Clara, at the end of the season. We're sooner or later we all got to face the Raven. That's the deal. And I'm like, except for you. And since there's no Gallifrey for you to go back to now, oh well, that's a whole nother thing. Yeah, they just figured out how to fly a TARDIS in 15 minutes, and she's technically immortal with her immortal companion. Ugh. Hold the phone. Jesse Jackson passed away. The Reverend Jesse Jackson? Okay, I didn't know that. Meanwhile, on Baldus, a revolution is brewing in the northern desert. It seems a number of life forms have gathered around this spot, thinking it is a place of worship. If only they knew, it's probably just a freckle. Okay, oh, okay, yeah, I was like, damn. There was a guy, I think he was literally standing next to Martin Luther King, I think, when he was shot. And, oh, that's a whole nother ball of wax about, James O'Reilly and all that stuff. Like I said, Trust me, read up on that one. If James Earl Ray made that shot, I am the Grand High Emperor of Duluth, Minnesota. Because, then again, I don't want to go anywhere near Minnesota. The shit's gone crazy in Minnesota. Yeah, the one state in the union where suddenly, ICE is evil. Oh, but that's a whole other argument. I don't like to get political. I keep telling folks, look, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Because it's what it is. It's all razzle-dazzle. It's all meant to stir up shit and cause a mess. Like I said, ain't it funny that the one city, that's having trouble with all these deportations also just happen to have a massive welfare fraud scandal that's getting, about to roll out, where the governor and a bunch of other people are going to probably wind up in prison. Ugh. But no, we don't want you to look at that. Oh, this is evil. This is bad. Yeah. Well, like I said, the organization, they're not, it's just, I'm tired in the news of them making them sound like they were some, disorganized militia that got formed up 5 days ago and they're out there just to make people's lives inconvenient. And they're no, the organization's been around quite a while. It's a part of the federal government, and they're just doing their jobs, those poor guys. That's what ticked me off. Or defund the police. Yeah, defund the police. The guy is the one thin blue line that's between you and chaos. And look at what's happened since a lot of these cities out there have defunded the police. The crime rate went through the frickin' roof, didn't it? Like I said, I give you a classic example. I remember back when I was working for Super K, they announced on CNN, because I had basic cable, it came with the building. On CNN, they were laying off all their third shift security. And trust me, it became a conga line of people going out the door with shit. But it's like, guys, let me give you a classic example of what's going on. Not everybody in the world is evil. They just want an opportunity. But just to put it into this as a metaphor, I had some friends of mine many, many, many years ago who decided they were going to have this big party. They invited everybody. They literally rented out the whole floor of a hotel and invited a whole shit ton of people to come to this thing. Well, most of the people showed up, had a great time. They even, had their room doors open so people could come in and talk to them and all that. And let me see. Over the course of this party, there were glass fixtures in the hallways that, like, a bunch of them got broken because people were screwing around the hallways. Then, when the one lady who was in charge of this party went to go take her nightly medication, it was gone. All her pain medication, all her, what do you call it? Somebody had gone in there, used their bathroom, and taken anything that was worth money on the street. And it's kind of like the policy with immigration. Most of the people who are showing up are just coming here for a better life, but you always have that group in there who are going to take advantage of the situation. Ugh. Matter of fact, yeah, they should remake the Ice Pirates. Oh, God, that would be a parody poster right there in itself. But rest in peace, yeah, Reverend Jesse Jackson. Rest in peace, Robert Duvall. Wherever you guys have gone beyond this great, mortal coil that we have, all the best. Like I said, I'm not a big believer in the heaven-hell thing because I was like, if there's something going on out there, we're going to be, us little, advanced, upright primates are going to be the last ones to figure it out. All right, that's just how we are in the cosmic scheme of things, Well, we had a good time. Like I said, we don't really make a big deal out of holidays because there's a lot of holidays out there that were just made up to make money. Like Sweetest Day, if you trace it back, it goes back to I think one of the big, was it May Company or something like that? They just create that shit to sell more shit. Valentine's Day, appreciate the person you're with every day. Like I said, I don't know how Lady G puts up with me, Ugh. But the thing is, I can't figure out why everybody, why do we want Greenland all of a sudden? There's not a whole lot going on in Greenland. You know? Ugh. Ugh. Exactly. All these stupid days they've come up with. Like, one of the things that makes me mad is, well, like I said, I'm not going to go in. It's not worth the time and effort. But all right, March coming around the corner pretty soon. Kind of weird. We're about halfway through, or just over halfway through February now. I'm dying laughing because there's a bunch of people whining, crying, and complaining because they're rigging up away in Fallout 76 so you can't AFK through the Fashnacht thing anymore. I'm not kidding. They hold this thing like every hour on the hour, the Fashnacht celebration. Trust me, if you want to look it up, it's Fasnacht. It's actually a real thing that does happen in the real world that they put into the game. And all of these people are doing to get free masks and the experience and all that, they were just sitting there and they leave their characters off in a building, sitting somewhere strumming a banjo or whatever, and they'd be AFK for hours. You're hogging up server space just to get free masks, or whatever at the end of the Fashnacht celebration. And get experience for it too, just doing absolutely nothing. And I've seen people do this like crazy. I'll still never forget one time there was this big battle royale at one of the events there, and I keep looking over and there's a little arrow indicating there's a player off in the distance. Sure enough, literally, just as the event ended, you're going to die laughing. This takes place in this like amusement park, this event that's left over after the apocalypse. And suddenly one of the porta potties opens up. The guy literally put his character in there, sat him down, and got the experience and all the shit for the event, doing absolutely nothing. He was just sitting out there literally on the shitter. His character. Like, when I was a lower level player, I can understand that because, hell, most fleas can walk up to you in that game at the beginning and kill you. Or rad roaches even can kill you. But yeah, the Reddit leak things, like I said, they're getting more and more ridiculous. They're getting stupider and stupider by the minute. And it's kind of bad, though, because you have folks out there, and trust me, there's more than a few of them. I was an extra on the show at some point, so now I know all about it. It's like, no, you were a seat filler. They have seat fillers at the Oscar, but that doesn't mean they know anything more about the history of American filmmaking or anything about the actor whose seat they were keeping warm while he went and took a shit than anybody else on planet Earth. The problem is they know there's groups of people out there who are so anxious and so hopeful for information that they'll believe anything you put out there, and then you'll go hook up some points off it. And it's just crazy. Like I said, I wouldn't believe half the shit out of anybody who's saying anything right now, because also you had a lot of people coming home from Galley 1. Guys, I had people coming home from Galley 1 who I knew who told me a bunch of shit that turned out it was just direct lies. This is what those people were told to tell the people at Galley 1, and they didn't know about it till later. So it's not like they were deliberately lying to me. They were being lied to by the people at the con to put out a disinformation campaign, to keep people off the track of something. And so, like I said, I wouldn't believe anything they tell you at Galley 1. Because if it's anything to do with the show, and they do have true ties to the show, they're being fed a line of shit to feed you a line of shit. Also, that's a way they track who's leaking shit. They'll tell one group of people a certain story, and they'll tell another group of people another. That way they can narrow down where the leaks are coming from. And that person ends up out of a job. But meanwhile, time rolls forward, and what can we do about it? All I can say is get out there, enjoy your life. Don't bog yourself down with politics. There's no point, folks. As one of the most wisest lines I've heard in sci-fi history. I've repeated this a number of times, so I'm going to repeat it again. It was from Kosh the Vorlon in Babylon 5. The avalanche has already started. It is too late for the pebbles to vote. On that note, be kind, be calm, be safe. Enjoy the rest of your days. We will definitely be out here again tomorrow. Like I said, I don't have any more FMLA days to burn, so I'll pretty much here for the rest of the duration. So for now. So take care, everyone. Catch you all later.